أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولقد جعلنا في السماء بروجا وزيناها للناظرين وحفظناها من كل شيطان رجيم إلا من استرق السمع فأتبعه شهاب مبين. والأرض مددناها وألغينا فيها رواسي وأنبتنا فيها من كل شيء موزون وجعلنا لكم فيها معايش ومن لستم له برازقين. وإن من شيء إلا عندنا خزائنه وما ننزله إلا بقدر معلوم. وأرسلنا الرياح لواقح فأنزلنا من السماء ماء فأسقيناكموه وما أنتم له بخازنين. وإنا لنحن نحيي ونميت ونحن الوارثون. ولقد علمنا المستقدمين منكم ولقد علمنا المستأخرين. وإن ربك هو يحشرهم إنه حكيم عليم. ولقد خلقنا الإنسان من صلصال من حماء مسنون. والجان خلقناه من قبل من نار السموم. وإذ قال ربك للملائكة إني خالق بشرا من صلصال من حماء مسنون. فإذا سويته ونفخت فيه من روحي فقعوا له ساجدين. فسجد الملائكة كلهم أجمعون إلا إبليس أبى أن يكون مع الساجدين. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. و به تحقیق ما در آسمان برجها قرار دادیم و آن را برای بینندگان بیاراستیم و آن آسمان را از هر شیطان رجیم رانده شده حفظ کردیم مگر آن که دزدانه گوش فرا دهد پس با شهاب روشن دنبال می شود. و زمین را بگستردیم و در آن کوههای محکم و استوار بیفگندیم و از همه چیز گوناگون به قدر لازم و متعادل در آن برویانیدیم و در آن موجبات معیشت شما و کسانی را که شما روزی دهنده اش نیستید قرار دادیم و در آنجا چیزی نیست مگر این که خزاین پایان ناپذیر آن نزد ماست و از آن جز به مقدار مقرر و لازم فرو نمی فرستیم و بادهای باردار کننده را میفرستیم. سپس از آسمان آب یعنی باران را نازل می کنیم و بدان سیرابتان می کنیم و شما قادر به انبار کردن آنها نیستید. و همانا ما زندگی می دهیم و می میرانیم و ماییم که وارث همگانیم. و به تحقیق ما پیش افتادگان شما را می شناسیم و با درستی که عقب ماندگان را نیز می دانیم. و به طور قطع پروردگار تو همه را گرد خواهد آورد، زیرا که او حکیم و داناست. و به تحقیق ما انسان را از گل خشک آفریدیم، از گل سیاه شکل پذیر، و از پیش جن را از شعله بیدود آتش آفریدیم. و آنگاه که پروردگارت به فرشتگان گفت بشر از گل خشک، از گل سیاه شکل پذیر می آفرینم، پس آنگاه که آن را شکل دادم و از روح خود در آن دمیدم، در برابرش زانو بزنید و سجده کنید. پس فرشتگان همه با هم سجده کردند بجز ابلیس که ابا کرد از این که همراه سجده کنندگان باشد. لعنت بر شیطان. صدق الله العلی العظیم.
Certainly we have appointed houses in the heaven and adorned them for the onlookers. And we have guarded them from every outcast Satan except someone who may eavesdrop, whereat there pursues him a manifest flame. We spread out the earth and cast in it firm mountains, and we grew in every kind of balanced thing and made it in various means of livelihood for you, and for those whom do you not provide for. There is not a thing but that its sources are with us, and we do not send it down except in a known measure. And we send the fertilizing winds and send down water from the sky, providing it for you to drink, and you are not the maintainers of its resources. Indeed, it is we who give life and bring death. We are in the inheritors. Certainly we know the predecessors among you, and certainly we know the successors. And indeed it is your Lord who will resurrect them. He is indeed all wise and all knowing. Certainly we created man out of dry clay, drawn from an aging mud, and we created the jinn earlier out of piercing fire. When your Lord said to the angels, indeed I am going to create a human out of dry clay, drawn from an aging mud, so when I had proportioned him and breathed into him of my spirit, then fall down in prostration before him. Thereat the angels prostrated, all of them together, but not in Iblis. He refused to be among those who were prostrated.
Thank you to Brother Naweed Moyini, Brother Hamidullah Abed, and Brother Imran Hanif for recitation and Farsi and English translations. At the beginning of the second session, as you can see, there is a cake has been provided for tonight's occasion. So before we go to articles and poetry, I respectfully welcome Ahmed Modares to come forward and cut the cake, and we will continue our program right afterwards with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So I'll keep this part very short. Anyone who can give me a hadith from Imam Askari alayhi salam, we will give him the honor of cutting the cake. Bismillah. If you have one. Bismillah. Anyone? Yes. So humbleness is someone that is no one is envious of. For Agha Sayyid Hamza, until he comes and cut the cake, recite a salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Bismillah. One more time, give him a round of applause. If you want to give him, give a proper one. Thank you. Thank you. So with that, inshallah, we get to the next part of the ceremony. In order to remember all the personalities of our history, especially Imam Askari alayhi salam, inshallah we celebrate tonight with another salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Thank you, Ahmed Modares, for making this part less painful. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I would like to take this opportunity and thank the families and the people who sponsored for the cake. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him ajr and thawab, inshallah. With that being said, as I mentioned at the beginning, from the brother side, I have Haj Karim Bassam, who has prepared a poem in Farsi, and I welcome Haj Karim Bassam to present us the poem that he has prepared with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
با عرض سلام خدمت برادران و خواهران عزیز و محترم، ولادت با سعادت 11مین اختر تابناک امامت و ولایت امام حسن عسکری علیه السلام را به پسرشان امام الزمان و جمیع مؤمنین و آل اسلام و برادران و خواهران حاضر در مجلس تبریک و تهنیت عرض می کنم. برای سلامتی خودتان و خانواده‌هایتان اجماعاً صلوات محمد و آل محمد. رعباز کنید دلبری آمده است، رعباز کنید دلبری آمده است، بر شیعه امام دیگری آمده است. در مطلع اشتم ربیع الثانی میلاد امام عسکری آمده است. صلوات محمدی. اللهم صل علی محمد و آل محمد. یک منقبت کوتاه به این مناسبت حضور شما میخوام. امشب که کاروبار گدایان گرفته است، بوی بهشت عالم امکان گرفته است. حاجات ما روا شده باران گرفته است، عالم تمام ذکر حسن جان گرفته است. شکر خدا که روزی من لطف مادر است، امشب حسنم جور دیگر است. شادن عرش و فرش به شادی اهل و بیت، غوغای دیگری است به وادی اهل و بیت. روح الامین شده است منادی اهل و بیت، وا کرد چشم نایب عادی اهل و بیت. امشب چه عاشقانه عطا می کند خدا، حاجات را نگفت روا می کند خدا. ام نور چشم مادر عالم توی حسن، ام جانشین ای در عالم توی حسن. پشت و پناه و سرور عالم توی حسن، ابن الرضای آخر عالم توی حسن. جان و دل نقی و جواد و رضا توییم، چشم و چراغ و آبروی سامرا توییم. نازد به خود خدا که توی از مظاهرش، کعبه گرفت غمی که نبودی تو ظاهرش. قرآن نمود فخر که هستی مفسرش، امام بالا نوشتن علم عزت تو را، هر جا رسیده پاد شده شر من را. یوسف تو زمین و سماوات مشتری، از هرچه گفتند و نوشتن بهتری. دارد امامتت به جهان لطف دیگری، کاری تو است مهدی موت پروری صلوات الله صلی علی محمد و آل محمد. میگن که ترامپ در ای اواخر گفت باش تو که من یه چندین ساله که تکس هم ندادم، این مجلس دوباره باز برگزار میشه. یک اعلان کرد که ما میخوایم کاخ سفید رنگ کنم. 3 نفر حاضر شدن، یکی از چین، یکی از آمریکا، یکی از افغانستان طالبا. با اینا هر کدام قیمت دادن. چینایی گفت ما 3 میلیون میخوایم، آمریکایی گفت ما 7 میلیون میخوایم، طالب گفت ما 10 میلیون میخوایم. هر کدام از این خواستن جداگانه. با چینی گفت که تو چرا 3 میلیون میخوای؟ گفت ما 1 میلیون رنگ میخرم، مواد میخرم، 1 میلیونم به کارگران میتم، 1 میلیونم خودم فایده میکنم. با آمریکایی گفت تو چرا 7 میلیون میخوای؟ گفت ما 3 میلیون خودم میگیرم، 2 میلیون رنگ میخرم، 2 میلیونم به کارگران میتم. بسیار خوب. از طالب پرسان کرد که تو چرا 10 میلیون میگیری؟ گفت ما 4 میلیون به خودت میتم، 3 میلیونم به چینیزی میتیم که رنگ کنه، 3 میلیونم من میوردارم. دیگه ای حاج آقام امشب مسئله الله اکبر گفته در تکبیرات. ای که مادرها وقتی که نماز میخوانن میگن الله اکبر، یعنی دیگه خاموش کو زیرش. الله اکبر در آواز کو. الله اکبر یعنی تلویزیون چینل آشپزی چرا گم کردی؟ پدرام همچنان وقتی که الله اکبر میگن معنا داره. تلویزیون چرا چینل خبر رد کردی؟ چرا جیغ و داد میکنی؟ هر کدام ای الله اکبر یک معنا داره. خدا کنه که انشالله با ای الله اکبر تکبیرات الاحرام انشالله قاطی نشوه و حکمش راج آقا خودشان بگه. صلوات.
Thank you, Taj Karim Bassam, for beautiful recitation and preparing the poem, and also for the jokes. For the well-being of Haj Karim Bassam and his family, please recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. With that being said, we don't have any representers, so we will wrap up second session. First thing first, please check with Brother Ziai Amili. He is here. Please check with him and make sure that your monthly donations are paid and up to date. And please see if you can increase your monthly donations by a little bit to cover the inflations lately that we're having. And also, as I've been mentioning, I'm seeing a lot of new faces, inshallah. With those new faces, I hope that there are more donations coming towards masjid. Again, the way it works is that nobody will tell you how much you need to donate. It's just between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make a commitment. But what we can ask is to be consistent with that donations and paid on a monthly basis or once a year, twice a year, however you're comfortable with. But please make sure that you establish a monthly donations toward Masjid al-Rasul if you like the programs and you're attending the programs in the last 3, 4, or 5 months. With that being said, our Taha Islamic Academy tomorrow will open at 9:30. So please make sure that you drop off your student 5 to 10 minutes prior to 9:30 so the classes can begin timely. With that being said, just want to mention again that we're located in a residential area. As a quick reminder that I will do every once in a while. When we're exiting the majlis at the end of the program, please make sure that we're keeping our noises and chit-chatting on the parking lot a little bit down. We have people over here, this is senior center, and also our neighbors. So we don't want to bother them. We don't know if they're working tomorrow or not, but that doesn't give us any excuse to bother them in their own houses. And sometimes we have to imagine ourselves living in one of these houses around our masjid. So please be mindful of them and make sure that they're not being bothered. With that being said, the title of tonight's speech that Ahmed Modares will cover is a continuation from last couple weeks, which was From Father to Son, a roadmap for life. I welcome Ahmed Modares to Munbar for the speech, honoring Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam. Please recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For the love and honor of our beloved Prophet, mercy for mankind, Prophet Muhammad and his immaculate progeny Ahlul Bayt, recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless the soul of all marhumeen. Let's remember today is the day of our dear brother Farid Jan. Last year we lost him. May Allah bless his soul. Let's remember marhum Farid, brother of respected Haji Amayun and Agha Nasim and the rest of the family, with Surah Fatiha and Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Let's also remember another brother who is in a critical condition. His name is Haji Muhammad Asif, father of our brother Agha Yunus and the grandfather of our youth who just recited the English translation. He is in need of our du'as. Let's inshallah recite the Surah Hamd for the khayr and the well-being of this marid as well. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. And they mentioned they did a Khatm al-Quran for Marhum Farid Jan. May Allah inshallah accept that Khatm al-Quran for the soul of all marhumeen and those marhumeen who we lost. Also again, the list is long, I'm pretty sure. Yes, I wanted to mention Marhum Arif Arastu, which passed away this week. He is the father of Dr. Shakila, a community member of ours. He used to come to our Salatul Jum'ah. Let's remember him as well with Surah Fatiha and Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله بجميع محامده كلها على جميع نعمه كلها الحمد لله الذي لا مضاد له في ملكه ولا منازع له في أمره ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه وحبيبه حافظ سره ومبلغ رسالاته حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الهداة المهديين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم: أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة ولما يأتكم مثل الذين خلوا من قبلكم مستهم البأساء والضراء وزلزلوا حتى يقول الرسول والذين آمنوا معه متى نصر الله ألا إن نصر الله قريب صدق الله العلي العظيم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us a steadfastness on the right path, help us to purify, work on our own character and our own souls, and then through that be able to raise the next generation of righteous and pious children who will be the future of this community and the future of the ummah, and inshallah to be the right followers and dedicate followers of Rasulullah and the Ahlul Bayt, especially the imam of our time, with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Letter 31st of Nahjul Balagha, we alhamdulillah were blessed to sit down and listen to the word of wisdom of Imam Ali alayhi salam in this letter, which we discussed that the letter was addressed to his son Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, but through his own words we can see that this letter is addressed to anyone who will receive this letter, and we are now the subject and the audience of this letter. So as if this letter was written to us as well. And for us, especially as the followers of Ahlul Bayt, we know that Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam has a special place in Islam. His character to all Muslims is not hidden, but for us as the Shia of Ahlul Bayt, we can define the word Shia, which means follower, in many ways. But one way we look at the word Shia means that we follow Ahlul Bayt to get to Quran and Prophet. That's the channel, that's the source that we use to get to Quran and Ahlul Bayt. We follow them. So Imam alayhi salam advises his son, where the priority was taqwa, and also if you want to revive your heart, take advantage of the benefit of listening to reminders and advices. So we are now going to inshallah continue. کلانامر بمانن این خورده هیچ کار به من نداره. صلوات علی محمد و آل محمد. So Imam alayhi salam in this part of the letter, this is where we ended last week. The last sentence, I believe, from last week was, Imam said, وَذَلِّلْهُ بِذِكْرِ الْمَوْتِ. Imam gave a series of advices that, my son, you have to work on your nafs. You have to work on discipline, on purification of the soul. Otherwise, if you're not working on our character, it will affect how we live, how we act, and we have to start working on the source of the problem. This is, I would say, a wrong approach that sometimes we have in tarbiyah, we have in upbringing and working with the students or children, or even in community as well. We always focus on the symptom, right? So let's say if we have someone who does not listen. They're always on their phone. They're always on social media or playing games. That's the symptom. That's not the cause. Why they don't communicate with us, why they don't talk to us, why they're so attached to their devices, it has a different cause. But what we do, we focus on the symptom. Put the phone down. Okay, they do it for that moment. No more game. Okay, they do it, they listen, and we have to do it. But if you're looking to deal with the problem in a fundamental level, then we have to think about why is it? Are they bored? They play game because there's nothing else for them to do? Do they feel alone? Let's be very clear. One of the reasons, this is something it requires, by the way, to listen. We think that, people and a lot of young people play video games for what? For fun. But one of the major reasons for many gamers is not actually the game. What do you think is it, if I ask you? It's friendship. Because now online games, people talk to each other as they play game. The kind of friendship they build, let me tell you what kind of friendship they make. We, as adults, again, I want to refer to myself as an adult, I mean age-wise. We get to know someone, we visit their house and all that, but rarely you see somebody traveling from one country to another to visit a friend, unless they're very close. Or God forbid, if there is a death or funeral, then they travel. We're talking about a generation that they travel to see a friend they found over playing games. It's not a bad thing. They form a friendship where? Online. Playing games together for years. Now they plan, okay, let's meet. Where? I'm going to be in this state, or we're going to be there. Let's, catch up. Let's meet. So the cause is not just entertainment. There's more. There's connection. There's friendship. And I said, we do that too. One of the reasons we come to these Friday nights is for what? Yes, inshallah, it's qurbatan ilallah, for the sake of Allah. All of that. But ultimately, it's also about meeting one another. It's to meet one another, to talk, to socialize. Some of us, we can't even stop socializing when the sheikh is giving the lecture, right? That's a priority. I'm here to talk. I don't see them the entire week. I remember many adults said, Sheikh, it's a great idea that we have these programs on Friday nights, because if it's not because of this, we will not see each other for a while. From one Eid to another Eid, from one event to another event. So we cannot judge the young people, you're not doing it for the right reason. We do it in our own way. I promise you, we don't understand TikTok the way they do. Otherwise, we will be as addicted to TikTok as they are. We don't know it, that's it. We don't know how it works. We don't get the messaging, and we don't get the entertainment, the way, the language. So here Imam alayhi salam says, it is important to, when you're addressing the young people, not just focus on the symptom, look at the cause. So here Imam alayhi salam advises, he said, وَذَلِّلْهُ بِذِكْرِ الْمَوْتِ. One of the causes of many issues is arrogance. When I'm arrogant, when I'm a narcissist, when I'm selfish, as a result of that, it will lead to loneliness, if I like it or not. Because it's all about me. What is narcissism, if I ask you? Narcissism is about someone who think of themselves very accomplished, very successful, very good. But the way they do it, so you say, okay, that's confidence. So what is confidence? Isn't confidence that I know that I am good at this, I'm capable? So where is the line between narcissism and confidence? The line is that what do you do to other people? Confident person, they are who they are. The way they act, the way they behave You get it that they know what they're doing. You get that confidence of their behavior. They're not shaky. They're not, we can call them uncertain. They are very confident. They're very calm as they do their thing. Narcissists, on the other hand, they make sure they diminish other people. They belittle other people in order to say, I'm good. So I put someone else down in order to consider myself superior above them. So Imam alayhi salam said, you have to recognize this is the downside of the ego and the nafs. This is, if you're not careful, this will cause so many issues in your life. This arrogance toward Creator, it will lead you to stop praying, stop obeying Allah because you think you are the God. Arrogance toward your family, it will make you to be not respected and not loved even in your own family. Arrogance in the community and among friends, it will make you less likely to be close to someone and someone can even rely on you or you can connect to them. So how can you fix it? Imam alayhi salam said, وَذَلِّلْهُ بِذِكْرِ الْمَوْتِ. Humble your nafs with remembrance of death. Whenever you think you are on the top of the world and you are untouchable and you are this and that, remember death. That no matter how accomplished, how beautiful or handsome or whatever quality I consider to be the reason I'm arrogant about it and I am full of pride, death is a reminder that at the end of the day, there is an equalizer that brings all of us to the same level, and that is when we die. When we die, it doesn't matter if you were wealthy or poor. It doesn't matter how accomplished you were. At the end of the day, death is coming. You may say, but you know what? Rich people even make death luxury. Say, how? So they build these monuments for the dead. They have these, they call them family graveside, that they have a special building for their own. If they want, they can make death luxury. Yes, they can make graves luxury, not death. Yeah, you can make graves luxury. But death, it makes no difference to the one who died. If he is buried in a, 20 by 20 space, or if you put them in a small grave, at the end of the day, for the dead is the same. Maybe for family, because they're alive, they can brag about it. Oh, you know what? This is where I bury my dad. My family, we have our own special place. But to the one who's dead is not going to make a difference. So from here on, we see that Imam alayhi salam's advice to his son, to a young man is what? To remember mortality. Allah Irfan, if you make the volume a bit less, thank you. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So that's why Imam continues. وَقَرِّرْهُ بِالْفَنَاءِ. Qarar is to calm down, to settle down. Opposite of qarar is farar, to escape, to run away. So here Imam says our qalb, our soul, sometimes in this position of not being calm, is escaping, is distracted. So Imam says, وَقَرِّرْهُ. How can you settle down? How can you make the heart to settle down? And settle it down, bil-fana, with understanding of mortality. When I know fana, that everything perishes, this qalb is all over the place, it start to calm down, it start to settle down. This is a big, big piece to remember. Because if I don't remember mortality, I look at the high rises, I look at skyscrapers, I look at billionaires, I look at the lifestyles, the luxury. And sometimes I hear young people say, you know what, Sheikh? Some people's vacation, how much they spend on a vacation, these, multi-billion-dollar individuals, their one vacation is going to be my entire lifetime of income. So, okay, so what? So no, but I'm just saying how unfair this world is. So I get it. But the point is, at the end of the day, that billionaire, how much money they can spend, what they can do with it. They can make a comfortable life, they can have a luxury life, but at the end of the day, there's one thing that no one can escape. And that is fana. That is mortality. So once you remember that, also it calms you down. وَبَصِّرْهُ فَجَائِعَ الدُّنْيَا. Imam says, my son, make sure that your heart and your soul make it see clearly the calamities of this world. فَجَائِعَ الدُّنْيا. What is فَجَائِعَ الدُّنْيا? It means that yes, there's the beauties of this dunya, but this dunya is filled with calamities. Remember the hardship of this dunya. Because when we look at the wealthy individual, we think, okay, they got it. I want to be wealthy. Why? Because I don't want to have pain. I want to be wealthy. Why? Because I don't want to be, observing or witness to suffering. But the truth is, how much dunya you have at the end of the day, there are calamities that you cannot stop. No one can stop. And that's what dunya is about. Make sure our nafs see that part of this life as well. Because as a human being, we tend to see one side of the coin. There's two sides to every coin. We see just one side. The one who is hopeless, they only see the negative. The one who is depressed, the one who is in despair, they don't trust anybody. They're suspicious of everyone. There's always negative about everything in this dunya, right? To this person, what's the point of life? What's the point of this life? And there are others who only see, oh, life is all about just having fun. You only live once, go enjoy yourself. You only live for 2 days, just enjoy it. But the truth is, the dunya has two sides. There are calamities and there are joys. There's two pieces. You want to give the lecture, inshallah? Sure. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He wanted to test me. He wanted to say how much I can go through it. I saw the grandpa and the mother I was not, I would have been able to go through with it, but I think you were having a lot of fun looking at him, not listening to me, right? Khayr, inshallah. So Imam said, my son, make sure that your nafs see the calamities of dunya. And Quran, it beautifully says it. Maybe inshallah in the future I'll talk about the importance of observation. Quran said, unzur, look, observe, open your eyes, see. And Allah doesn't say just see the death, see the destruction, see mortality. He says, yes, that part is true, but also look at the creation. Look at the heavens, look at the stars. Look at the world that I created. Look at the water, look at the oceans. Everything around you is a sign. The beauties, there's a sign. In death, there's a sign. So among those descriptions, we have that Allah says, وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا. What is this life? إِلَّا لَعِبٌ وَلَهْوٌ. At the end of the day, this life is an amusement and play. It's a game. You chase something, right? If you ask the children, I remember last week we had the junior youth, right? So when I came, interestingly, the topic was how to use your phones and your devices, basically how to use it right, how not to be basically addicted to it or misuse it. So as I came in, some of them were on their phones. So I said, let's inshallah start. Can you stop and join the session? This is one of them responded. Said, Sheikh, I cannot stop it. I said, why? He said, it's an online game. If I stop, others don't stop. It's an online session, so I need to finish this. And again, this is a sheikh nature. I'm not going to let that go. I said, okay, what happened if you stop it? So what? Again, let's say if you stop and you actually lost. So then I will be downgraded. I cannot upgrade. I cannot go to the next level. So what's the point of this game? This point is about the badges, is about the, some kind of levels that you are, as kind of a status. It reminded me of this ayah. وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا لَعِبٌ وَلَعْبٌ. What is this life except a game? This is what adults say too. Said, okay, if you don't work 2 jobs or 3 jobs, if you don't open this business and that business and that business, what happens? I don't make as much money. Then what happens? Then what happened? I cannot go to the next tax bracket. I cannot be in that level. What happened in that level? Do you still survive? Yes. But there's now a bit of pride with it that, I'm a wealthy person. Now my house is in that neighborhood. Now I'm in the higher level. That's what dunya is. We chase the status too. وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا. The same way at the end of the day, when that phone is off, when you actually grow up, inshallah, when they mature enough, they remember none of that matters. Nobody, again, I used to play games too. I don't look back and say, you know what? I remember what a great achievement I had. Once in a while, let me go check the status I have. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. For the one who are after the dunya, now it's a big deal. But once as we get closer to leaving this dunya, it becomes clear what's the point of all that. And I love it that as people who are living in Islam, we don't have that. It's a cultural thing. Is that when people die, there's eulogy. It's a Christian practice, but it's common among, is a Western culture. Eulogy is that you come and you talk about the person who died. In our culture, we have du'as, we have Quran recitation, we remember the person. But in eulogies, in the culture that we live in, quite often they talk about the person and their accomplishment. This person did this and did this and did this. And even after they're gone, we still talk about their accomplishment. And there's even jokes and humors and all that, entertaining people who are in the funeral. That even death, we try to kind of demystify death in a negative way. There's a celebration of death. Come from other cultures. It came to even from South America, came to North America. We have Halloween and all those things, right? The celebration of the dead. That even death should not be something to shake us to our core. It still is part of life. Let's enjoy this piece of cake as we are buried this person. Let's just enjoy it. Which the truth is, death is a reminder that I have to put life in perspective. I cannot say business as usual. Business as usual meaning, okay, somebody died, life continues. You hear, right? Yes, life continues, but not the same way. When I lost a loved one, when I lost my father and mother, it doesn't mean I have to stop living, but that should be a reminder to me that I cannot have everything forever. I cannot take them for granted. I do not have infinite time. There should be a wake-up call. Otherwise, business as usual. Just go on with everything. That's why Commander of the Faithful Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam recited salawat. In the sermon 188, so not in this letter, in a different sermon from Nahjul Balagha, look at what he says. I quite often in funerals I say it. Imam says, فَكَفَى وَاعِذًا بِمَوْتَى عَايَنْتُمُوهُمْ حُمِلُوا إِلَىٰ قُبُورِهِمْ غَيْرَ رَاكِبِينَ. Kafa wa'idan means it is enough of an advice. It is enough of a reminder. When you see that the dead who are being taken to their graves without their choice, without their control. Meaning when you take the dead, they cannot say, don't take me. That should be an enough reminder that this is it. That when you see the dead people are being carried on the shoulders of people to the grave and they cannot stop it, that should be a greatest wake-up call. That I don't forgive, I don't let go, I hold on grudges, I only focus about the dunya, I'm ready to sacrifice anything and everything in order to get to what I want. That death is a reminder, no, not everything is worth it. وَحَذِّرْهُ صَوْلَةَ الدَّهْرِ. So Imam continues on the letter to his son. First, make sure your nafs see the calamities of this dunya, the ups and downs of this dunya. And then, and warn your soul of the assaults of time. The word sawla is the attack, when an animal attack. This is the eloquence of Imam Ali. That's why I call Nahjul Balagha, the peak of eloquence. That look at the imagery, look at the language, look at the poetry, the beauty of the Imam's word. Imam said, my son, warn your soul of the assault of the time. Because the assault of the time, assault in this case, ambush. Meaning that the animal, you've seen probably the nature videos, right? National Geographics that they show a tiger, a lion, they kind of blend in with their environment, and then when the time is right, they attack. And usually they're victims, or they're not victim, they're parade, right? They are the one that they're basically unaware of the attacker or the predator coming for them. Imam Islam said, warn your nafs. This is what the dahr is, this is what the time is. Before you can anticipate it comes for you. Which one of us could believe Agha Farid's death? Who could have anticipated? I talked to him in the hospital. He was saying that inshallah, once I'm done with this in hospital, I'm planning to go to ziyarah, I want to do this. And that's how life is. Dahr and time is unpredictable. So when it's unpredictable, I cannot always feel at safety with it. You've seen the gazelle try to drink water and there is an alligator coming for them. Again, please do not correct me as a crocodile or alligator, whatever you say. The one that I saw was an alligator. Maybe the one you saw was different. It's not my line of work and a specialty. So Imam says, وَحَذِّرْهُ صَوْلَةَ الدَّهْرِ. Like that gazelle that is unaware of the threat coming, time is coming. When is that going to be, that snap and attack? We don't know. All you can do is to be ready. Be ready. We're being said that if you pray, and if I pray, as if this is the last prayer. Salat muwaddi'in. This is the last prayer I can do. Then I promise you, you will not be distracted why your car alarm went on, as the story said, why children are screaming, why the TV channel is changed. As if I consider this is my last prayer. And it's difficult. Because then priority shifts. Then everything else fade away. This is it. You don't see someone who's on deathbed care about, oh, tell me about the cryptocurrency. What is the crypto's price right now? They don't care. You don't see them lose sleep over their investment if their house appreciated or depreciated. Life brings everything to perspective. Death brings everything to perspective. وَفُحْشَ تَقَلُّبِ اللَّيَالِ وَالْأَيَّامِ. The word fuhsh means anything bad. There's also cursing is a form of fuhsh. Unpleasant, terrible. So Imam says that also the terrible upheaval of the nights and days. Meaning that, remember, the same way that time is coming for you, assaults, attacks is an ambush, and you see the days and night changing. that it become also a reminder. When you see the gray hair in the mirror, is a reminder. When I see that numbers growing, it's a reminder. The reminder of what? I don't have time forever. I have to do what I have to do as soon as possible. I cannot lose this. I cannot procrastinate. وَأَعْرِضْ عَلَيْهِ أَخْبَارَ الْمَاضِينَ. Then Imam continues with another piece of wisdom. He said, how can you do it? Inform, present to your soul, to your nafs, the stories of those who came before you. In other words, study history. Look at what happened to the people of the past, what they went through. That's a reminder that I'm not going to be an exception here. I'm not going to be an exemption. The thing is that we have part of our character that we try to disassociate. How? We try to disassociate by saying that I'm not going to be like them. I said this, that the study shows in most cases, people unfortunately, they turn to something that they dislike and despise. For example, many studies shows children of divorce are the one who paid the biggest price of the divorce of their parents. If you ask them, many of them probably say it was the most difficult thing they went through as a child. Separation and dealing with divorce of their parents. They're more likely for them to be of someone who end up getting divorced themselves. It's not 100%, it's not that, it is the way it is. It's an unfortunate statistic and data that come from that. More likely. So for us to say, you know what, I'm not going to be like that. That is not sufficient. So Imam says, read the account of the people of the past. Study the history and what happened to them and learn from their mistake. And do not consider yourself an exemption, an exception. Because you see this pattern. When we see the genocide in Gaza, so, oh no, it cannot be a genocide. Why? How it could be a genocide? Someone who's been through this, and we saw this, and we saw the other genocide. How can we? No, it could. And it did. If it's recently being said from the first few months, many journalists and many brave people were saying this is a genocide. It walks like a duck. It walks like a genocide. It quacks like a genocide. It is a genocide. What do you want? But we waited for thousands, 60,000, over 60,000 people, 30,000 of them women and children. 20,000, I believe, was women, and 16,000 or 13,000 are children, because we don't have the exact data. And this is a low number. So read the account of the past. وَذَكِّرْهُ بِمَا أَصَابَ مَنْ كَانَ قَبْلَكَ مِنَ الْأَوَّلِينَ. And remind your nafs of what befell those of earlier generation. What happened to them? وَسِرْ فِي دِيَارِهِمْ وَآثَارِهِمْ. Travel through their lands and their ruins. Travel and see what happened to the empires who fell. When you see this of the past, good and bad. So people who say, you know, why we go to Karbala and why we go to these places. What Quran says? It says, Siru fil ard. This is a command of Quran. Travel on earth. فَانْظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُكَذِّبِينَ. And see what happened to those who denied the truth. So it's not that difficult to walk in Karbala and see what happened to the thousands of armies who killed the living grandson of Rasulullah. Where are they today? What happened to them? Where is the reminiscence of their names? Or walk in anywhere else, Roman Empire. All these massive mansions and fortresses they built, what is left of them? Where are they today? So he said, my son, travel and see what the previous generation left after themselves. Learn from that. فَانْظُرُوا فِيمَا فَعَلُوا, and reflect on what they did. Imam said, yes, go to a museum, go to these, tourist places that people go, if it's in Greece, or if it's in Italy, or if it's in, Baghdad, or if it's in anywhere, if it's in Iran or Afghanistan. There are so many historical places you can go. Some places thousands of years old, some of them less or more. Then Imam says, my son, look, but don't just be mesmerized by the artifact. That's one piece. But think about what they have done. Travel through their lands and their ruins and reflect on what they did. وَعَمَّا إِنْتَقَلُوا, and from what they departed, what they left behind. They used to live here, what they have left behind. وَأَيْنَ حَلُّوا وَنَزَلُوا, and where they settled and dwelled. فَإِنَّكَ تَجِدُهُمْ قَدْ انْتَقَلُوا عَنِ الْأَحِبَّةِ, you will find, you come to this answer, that they have departed from their loved ones. None of them stayed with their loved one forever. وَحَلُّوا دِيَارَ الْغُرْبَةِ, and they have settled in the land of strangers, which is grave. This is where they end up. وَكَأَنَّكَ عَنْ قَلِيلِ قَدْ صِرْتَ كَأَحَدِهِمْ. And Imam said this is a bitter truth, and Imam is not saying it to a child. This letter too is an adult man. Imam Hasan is in his 30s. So Imam says, and soon my son, you too will become one of them. This is what's coming for you. Again, try to not run away from this truth of mortality. فَأَصْلِحْ مَثْوَاكَ. So what should you do? Now I know that death is coming. I travel through the land. I see the ruins. I know the history of the people, how they live, what they have done. What is all this for? Then Imam says, فَأَصْلِحْ مَثْوَاكَ. So repair your dwelling. Repair your place. In other words, be ready for where you're going to. Make this place that you're going to end up a good place. Let's say if I know I'm going somewhere and I'm going to stay there for a long time. If I'm a temporary, let's say I'm going to be somewhere in 3 nights, 5 nights, maybe I improvise, right? Especially young people, they like it. It's going to be an adventure. We have some, mashallah, youth of the past who go to, nature and they hike for a couple of nights and they sleep under the stars. Good for them. Good for them. But the moment it's not days, now it's going to be a long time. It's not anymore that, I'm going to just go figure it out. Then I need to make preparation. I'm going to be there for a long time. Imam says, my son, you know that the people of the past, eventually they ended up in grave. Now start preparing for the grave. Make that dwelling ready for you. How we make that dwelling ready? قَدَّمْتُ لِحَيَاتِي. Do what you can do in good deeds before it's too late. Send ahead. Save before it's too late. I mentioned this story. Maulana or Maulawi has a story. Again, one of the poets. The story is that a man had a piece of land. And he wanted to build a structure or dwelling on the top of this land. But the only time he could do it was during the night time. So you start going at night and start building. After a long time working, he finished. And he wanted to enjoy to see what he has built during the daytime. So when he came during the daytime, he noticed that he's been building the house on the wrong land. That is, this entire house was built on the wrong plot of land. And then he says this is an analogy that those that they build this dunya as if this is going to be their eternal place. در زمین دیگران خانه مکن. کار خود کن، کار بیگانه مکن. A lot of them say that understand at the end of the day, it's good to make a comfortable life. It is honorable to have a good life, to be a successful individual. But the question is, at the end of the day, what am I sacrificing? Some of the most vicious lawsuit, do you think is among who? Is among billionaires, lawsuits, corporations. They have so much, but still there's fight. There's lawsuit, there's a struggle, there's about having more. It's about mergers and companies coming together. They already have millions or billions, we want to have more. And there's nothing wrong with it as long as you say, I don't do anything unethical. But the issue is there's a lot of unethical stuff. When you see a company who's a billionaire, worth billions of dollars, these corporations, and their employees cannot even have bathroom breaks. If you get bathroom breaks, you're fired. Something is wrong. You're abusing people here. And the list goes on. Is that for the sake of dunya. فَأَصْلِحْ مَثْوَاكَ. So repair your dwelling, your action, your grave, your final resting place. وَلَا تَبِعْ آخِرَتَكَ بِدُنْيَاكَ. And this is the last part of tonight's Imam's word. Imam says, so do not sell your hereafter for your worldly life. That should be all of those sentences bring us to this point. The ayah I recited is from Surah Al-Baqarah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, what do you think? What did you think? Do you think that we will not test you? You will not be in a position of choosing between right and wrong? And people before you went through that challenge. How difficult it was for them? It was so difficult that the people who were with the prophets, they were so much under pressure that they say, Mata Nasrullah. O Prophet of God, you told us God will help us. Where is God's help? That's how tough it was. Imagine, these are followers of the prophets, companions of the prophet. And now they're so much under pressure and hardship that they're saying, we're doubting this promise that we will be helped. The rescue is coming, help is coming. Where is it? Ala inna nasrallahi qareeb. Be aware that the help of Allah is near. It's close. So in dunya, there's always this question. I'm not here on a Friday night to discourage you or discourage youth from pursuing a career or a job or making money or any of that. A mu'min is never a burden on other people. A mu'min is generous to give to others. And how can I be generous if I don't have generational wealth or some kind of product? I should earn money from somewhere. How can I give sadaqah? How can I give khums? How can I give zakat if I don't produce anything? So we're not here to say, oh, from tomorrow we're going to be monks. We're going to disown everything and Sheikh Modares is going to take us to, I don't know, to mountains and we're going to work. No. All of this is bring us to the last sentence of the Imam. All these advices that the Imam is saying to his son is that, my son, at the end of the day, do not sell your akhirat. Do not sacrifice your hereafter, your faith, your values for the sake of dunya. That's it. Make money unless that money is going to require you to sacrifice part of your humanity, part of your iman. There are people who lost their job because they spoke up for defending Gaza. They lost their job. They lost great promises of their future because they did not tolerate. Some of them were working in tech companies. Microsoft fired them. Google fired them, but they stood up. Some of them were university students. They paid the price for it. So the question is that sometimes there is a price to pay. It's not always free. You wear hijab, there is going to be a price for it. Your name is Muhammad, there is a price to pay, I promise you. Not that you have to, God forbid, claim that because my name is Muhammad, I cannot get any job. No, but most likely you will be sometimes subject of racism and discrimination and prejudice. And that's something it is. I can't do anything about that. That's not my choice, it's their choice. This is who I am. The same way my skin tone, my race is not something I can do anything about it. This is the way God created me. Iman is something that I discovered. I believed in it. I cannot let go of it. It is who I am. If I choose to be a mu'min, if I choose to be a believer, then there's going to be a price with it. So the conclusion of this tonight, if it's one sentence from the entire section of this letter that we discussed, my son, do not sell your hereafter because of dunya. Otherwise, if acquiring, seeking dunya, seeking wealth has no contradiction with akhirah, go for it. Our Prophet worked as a trader for Khadija alayhi salam. How can our deen be against business? Our Imams of Ahlul Bayt did not discourage their followers from engaging in business or career or jobs. What they discouraged them is that don't make the dunya a priority, that God forbid you end up selling yourself. As Muawiyah used to say, said, show me a man and I tell you the price of their deen. I give you a price. Everyone has a price. And those who cannot be bought, like Hujr ibn Udayd. Remember, Muawiyah is among those who buried some of the companions of Rasulullah, Sahaba, and companions of Imam Ali alayhi salam. He buried them alive. Why? Because they did not have a price tag. No matter what he offered, they refused. And they are the one that their name will stand forever. Hujr ibn Uday is one of them. Kumayl ibn Ziyad, that we recite Dua Kumayl, is one of them. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are grateful and we also know the worth of our religion, the worth of our iman. What's the worth of it? Is infinity, it is eternity ahead of us. The worth of my iman is eternity. Anything less than that is not worth it. Anything, 50 years of comfortable life versus eternity is nothing. It's not even a penny. Compare what I'm losing and what I'm gaining. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the honor of Rasulullah, by the honor of Ahlul Bayt, to grant us all the tawfiq, to recognize the beauties of this dunya as a sign, to recognize the calamities of this dunya as a sign, to know that the hardship and ease are part of the cycle of this dunya, to remind us that at the end of the day, this dunya is nothing but an amusement, but a play, but a temporary and a transitionary state, who prepare us for eternity that is coming and we're facing it. May Allah make our death and our departure of this dunya to be with dignity, to be with honor, to be with faith and iman, and to be ultimately with submission and with certainty to the promises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to the glad tiding of Rasulullah and the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam with the salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. So inshallah we'll conclude at this point. Alhamdulillah, again we are starting earlier, so we will be finishing earlier on Friday nights now. So there's more time inshallah for you to be able to socialize afterward. I leave that to you inshallah. But make sure tomorrow, our youth, there is an event for youth. So they already shared that with everyone. It's already, the youth have their own platform, I think on Instagram and everything, they already advertise it. But just in case, we have a guest speaker joining us tomorrow night for the youth, Dr. Taqi, which he is a counselor and a social worker. Dr. Taqi is going to be here talking about resilience and faith, and the audience will be from 9 years and above. So I think it starts from 9 years old, and the young people are encouraged to participate tomorrow night. So remember, when we invite these speakers, this is a preparation. They drive a long way. At least he drives on that time 1.5 hours to get here. So, and also, alhamdulillah, the youth are the one making sure that this kind of program happens. This was an idea by the youth that as college started, a lot of young people, they are stressed, they're anxious with the difficulties of college courses and overall just stresses that they have about their future. So having him to talk about from, of course, someone with the mental health background, as well as, of course, he incorporate the teachings of our faith to give them the equipment and the tools they need to be ready, inshallah, for their future and for their education, inshallah. With that, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our next generation, our children and our youth from corruption, from the, all form of deviances that we see at the end of time and akhir zaman. May Allah grant them strength, bravery to stand up for their identity as a believer. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase their tawfiqat for a great work and a good job that they're doing already. With the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Let's everybody stand up. We finish inshallah with a salam. وعجل اللهم في فرج مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان. السلام عليك يا رسول الله يا نبي الله يا خير خلق الله يا خاتم النبيين. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين ويا إمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليكم أيها الحسن والحسين سبطي نبي الرحمة والسيدي شباب أهل الجنة أجمعين. السلام على علي بن الحسين زين العابدين. السلام على محمد بن علي باقر علم النبيين. السلام على جعفر بن محمد الصادق. السلام على موسى بن جعفر الكاظم. السلام على علي بن موسى الرضا. السلام على محمد بن علي التقي الجواد. السلام على علي بن محمد الهادي النقي. السلام على حسن بن علي العسكري الزكي. السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان يا خليفة الرحمن يا إمامي وإمام الإنس والجان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات ولشفاء مرضانا ولتعجيل الفرج مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان رحم الله لمن